Hey, this is Christian Buckley with another MVP Buzz Chat, and it is a lovely Tuesday morning. I'm here with Oz. Hey, good morning there, all the way from Portland.
That's right. Good morning. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me here.
I'm so sorry to drag you out of bed at this time of morning.
But I'm draggable. I will survive that. I'm durable.
Resilient, yes.
Yes.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself for folks that don't know who you are and kind of your background and your specialty.
All right. Dobro utro. Меня зовут Oskar Eduardovich. Good morning. I'm Oz du Soleil, coming here from Portland, Oregon, and I'm an Excel MVP, and hopefully I'll be renewed this year because then I'll get the blue disc, meaning 5 years.
Woohoo! Yes.
Yeah. Been great to be an MVP. I've been working with Excel for about 20 years, and it's been exciting. I feel blessed to have had Excel as my life ever since a layoff in '08. But my early days with Excel was data cleansing, realizing the stuff in the company's database was junk. Reports were bad. Reports were causing all kinds of problems, either because of duplicate records or the reports didn't reflect business rule changes.
Yeah, I've seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I've got one client and a couple companies I've worked with that they're promoting the fact that their value add is that data cleansing, that data cleanup. I come from a database world, the first third of my career, data warehousing. I'm still, whining, complaining about the shift from Excel, from the proprietary macro language over to, over to the modern platform that we know here.
Okay.
It's Visual Basic, but that goes back a ways.
Yeah, and that was my baptism into Excel. Customers calling up with the same problems, and then I start digging in data and realize, wait a minute, this report made sense back when the business rule was this, and now it's this. But now, the DBA isn't going to fix it. It's going to take a lot to fix it. So I learned how to write a good enough query to get a data dump out and cleanse that data in Excel. And then that's when I was back in Chicago, and then the company laid everybody off and moved to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and I've been on my own since '08, and that introduced me to a lot more. Had I stayed in that job, I would have been a data cleansing fool, right? But then not much else.
Yeah, how'd you get involved with like the community stuff, and how'd you find your way from Chicago to Portland?
Long walk.
You're a pioneer, man. That's right. Cart your way out there.
That old what do you call it? That trail, the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, the Oregon
Manifest Destiny. Yeah, I was about 100 years late. So it was November 2013 when I was at the bottom. I had cussed at a client. 2 big projects kept getting pushed off. They eventually happened, but they had like 6 months too late for me. And I realized I have nothing attaching me to anything right now. I get to write a whole new future. And I'm writing my whole new future in Portland, Oregon, because I had seen that I didn't need Chicago's intensity anymore. I didn't want the cold weathers and digging my car out of the snow anymore. So when I started writing that new future, it was going to be in Portland, Oregon. And the reason was I'd lived in a lot of places. Manhattan, Orlando, Florida, Long Beach, California. I didn't like the sprawl. I didn't need any more intensity, and it felt like Portland would be perfect, and it has been.
Well, and plus Portland does have the world's greatest bookstore, Powell's.
Powell's, yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
every time I go through Portland, I have to go through Powell's. So I'm a science fiction reader, and man, that is the collection of everything.
Yeah, it is. Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, as we were saying before the call started, I was in Seattle for 12 years, and I would used to joke about how every time I go down to visit friends or go through for business, how dead everything looked, dried out everything looked in Portland compared to the Seattle area, how green everything was there. But as a gardener, I have to say that I was so envious that you had like full growing seasons there that we did not have in Seattle. Yeah, I don't know if you have a chance, if you get into gardening at all. But
no, I haven't done any gardening. But that surprises me to hear about Seattle. But I haven't spent much time there.
No, it's just because it's always wet, and so most people's lawns are more moss than grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember the first time I went up there for a summit. It seemed like the same damn cloud was over Bellevue the week after I left. You know, when I was leaving, it was there the day I got there. Same doggone cloud. I didn't know what that thing wanted, but it sure hung around.
Yeah, I have to say that were you at Summit this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was hot, beautiful weather, and then at the end of the week started raining again. I was like, well, this is that's what summers are like. I mean, it's 4 to 5 days are just incredibly gorgeous weather. And then it rains for half a day, and then it clears up, and then it's incredibly gorgeous weather for a few days. It just love that. You just have to be able to get through the long, dark winters of being so high north and just being dark so much.
But I pretty much moved to Portland sight unseen. I did some research and asked questions, and I thought about Portland, Seattle, Austin, Texas. I figured in Texas I might wind up running into Karl Rove or something. So I didn't go to Texas. And then I picked Portland, and it's been perfect. About 2 months after I got here, I had to go to Seattle and realized I picked right, because Seattle had that big city edge that I wanted to get away from. Yeah.
Portland definitely has that feeling of a smaller town. I mean, lower building. I mean, it's got the big buildings, it's got the downtown area, but the majority of it is, it's lower rise buildings, and it has that more community feel to it.
Yep. And I do storytelling shows, and at my last show, the bartender from this cigar lounge that I go to, she came to my storytelling show. In big cities, there's like this barrier, like, that you're getting too familiar now, or we're dating somehow. But no, just a regular friend. I was glad to see her. I felt like, that wasn't gonna happen in Chicago.
Well, so from Summit, what were your takeaways that you could talk about, of course, that's happening? Like, what exciting advances in the Excel world? I mean, there's one feature that I don't know if it's out there, if it's available yet. They talked about it. There was a blog post about it, about the ability to go and snap a picture on a table, and it does the OCR, it pulls it in and embeds that within a table. What kind of exciting things have been happening in the Excel world?
Dynamic arrays and a new calculation engine. It is beautiful. I've got a course on the LinkedIn/Linda library about dynamic arrays. Being able to write one formula and have the results spill into other cells and other columns, it's beautiful, beautiful.
The dynamic arrays, it sounds like something that is akin to the flux capacitor. What is that actually? What is that?
All right. So for one thing, there is 7 new functions, and one of them is called filter. All right. So if I have a range of data, I can write the filter function and then have that filter function filter that array, that range of data, but over here, right? So if I have a bunch of houses with the square footage, the addresses and everything in one place, I can say filter for square footage above 2,000 square feet. And over here, that one formula will filter that whole range of data. So if you got 50 addresses over here and 10 fit the criteria, all 10 of them show up with all of the columns.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. But it also works with existing functions, right? So you can do a VLOOKUP, one VLOOKUP against an entire range of data, right? Just write one formula and it fills in everything.
Now, so another feature that it's just really cool to see demo too is where it's, the AI capability, the online connected piece of this is being able to go in and say, oh, I see what you're trying to do with this column, and then go and pull the similar data in and format it, in a similar way. So you go there, so it sees where you're going with your formatting and
the flash fill.
Right, in the flash fill.
Oh boy, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, that's been out for a few new versions of Excel, and more people do need to know about it.
Yeah, it's again, Excel's always been one of those products where there is so much depth. There are so many different features, and where most people just barely scratch the surface of what they're using it for. It's
good God.
And so, but like you said, there's one of the problems that you have in well, and this may be my perception, but there seem to be fewer people going by the DBA title these days. It's harder to find. A lot of organizations don't have those, those people on staff. And so the need to be able to go in there and clean up the data, again, it impacts all of your reporting. You might have good data, but very dirty data. And you're not
now how do you distinguish between you might have good data but dirty data?
It's the formatting. So you're not going to get the results if you have, like, abbreviations are different and titles are different. If the classification is off.
Yeah.
And so normally you'd have data analysts or DBAs that would go in and clean that up and normalize that data. So then you could push it through and get the reports that you need. So you might have just generically, 100 lines of data with 100 different customers, pull the report up, but only be seeing the report based off of 30 of that 100 because the data doesn't fit in a way your report is failing to bring that together.
And see, I have this vision, right? It's the post-apocalypse, right? The huddled people, all dirty and smelly and in need, right? So you got the IT people who can be in the cave or in the abandoned building, like holding things together at a macro level. But then it's the Excel users who are nimble and badasses and have to go out in the streets and go steal some water or go cut somebody's head off because they've been messing with everybody. Excel users can do that. Because
are you saying that the Excel people are like the Mad Max of data?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. We got to go out there and deal with stuff. And I didn't know that DBAs were reducing in numbers. I just knew that.
This is my observation.
Right. Well, my observation as the Mad Max of the data world was we had to go to Charles. Okay, we want data about this company and this product line over this amount of time. Charles says I can get that to you in 3 days. Oh, okay, 3 days. We get the report, and in 10 minutes we see this just leads us to needing another report. Now we got to go to Charles again and wait 3 days. No, no. I can write a query and it's not going to be as neat and as straightforward to look at as the one Charles generates. Mine is going to be a data dump that starts with 30 columns and 60,000 rows that I'm going to have to clean up. But I can do that, and we don't have to go through Charles anymore.
Well, and that's the just the we live in a world now of the business applications. You have the end user and power user driven applications. Excel has always been that. I mean, Excel has been, I think this is Microsoft's strategy, is to be on the tip of the spear of the democratization of data. Yeah. So no longer do you have to go to that reporting team, to that analytics team to go and get that. You have access to that data. You have the ability to go in there and a little bit of knowledge, sort, filter, clean that data and get exactly what you're looking for and build those reports on your own. Yep. So it's really just part of the extended kind of business app, view of the world that Microsoft is building out these days.
And then the thing is, I always have to be that voice that says, you know what? Not everybody is an enterprise. I've gone to the 5-person nonprofit who has an IT person who works part-time, and her role is to keep the website up. She's not the traditional IT person. I've had this situation, like, why are you bringing me in as an Excel guy to make reports? I hear you talking about your IT person. No, she just keeps the website up. Reports, she's not touching it. Oh, okay. So a lot of this enterprise level stuff, it doesn't mean a doggone thing for small entities like that. So there is Excel, Power Query, Power Pivot, Dropbox, getting a whole lot of stuff done the rogue way.
Right.
And I'm a big proponent of going rogue.
Well, that's why you have, again, so much. Microsoft is banking so much on, on the tools and the Office suite, of course, but, Power BI, the Power Suite, Power Apps and Flow. Again, a lot of this stuff is it's a self-service model. It's people having this little bit of knowledge of being able to go out and do these things for themselves, so they're not bogged down by waiting for that formal IT request to go through and for them to figure out. Let them go and worry about the big ticket items. Keep the portal up and running. If there are servers remaining or the services that you're subscribed to, make sure that the quality of service is there for the employees. But otherwise, get out of the way of the business people that know what they need and are really, with that little bit of knowledge, best suited to go and solve those problems.
Right. And see, this is where I feel like data literacy needs to be talked more about.
Yeah.
But aside from all these tools, because these tools didn't always exist, but somehow pyramids got built and we figured how round the world is without all of this stuff. But people need to know their data and know their numbers, because I still see a lot of that kind of stuff. A person has done all kind of fancy analysis, and then I look and see, are you aware of all these duplicate records? They're probably puffing up these numbers that you've calculated. And then the normalization you talk about, I went to build something for a small company that was like 3 full-time people and a whole bunch of part-time contractors. And they had VEG, veg, vegetarian, veggie. Okay, we got to pick one. Which one doesn't matter, but it's got to be one.
Yeah.
Or I've got to build extra tools and charge you extra for being able to manage all of those things. But see, that's where data literacy would have helped them so much more than whatever software. They're not thinking about data quality.
Well, hey, and that's the kind of stuff that, and I don't mean to sound crass about it, but keeps a lot of consultants busy. There's going to be that kind of work. And sometimes, look, just the economies of it, it might be cheaper just to bring in that outside expert to do that cleanup, once in a while. But it's recognizing that it does need to be done. And it's a constant effort too, because we're constantly adding to that data. It's not like it ever stands still.
Yep, and that's where business rules change. And then somebody's got to be aware, because man, there was one time, so we would manage this curriculum and people were getting these professional designations. And then the governing body said, in these states, this one course is going to be optional. But when they made that decision, it didn't get routed to the person who needed to know that the rule changed, so that then they would send out the right certificates for people, but also the report. Nobody changed the report. And that's another example of where I said, stop sending that report. I'll show somebody how to get a data dump and clean it up them damn selves, right? Because all of a sudden to fix a report now, we got to go through green light committees and fuss about who's going to be paying the IT people out of their what budget. No, stop. We're going to Mad Max this thing and end problems.
Yeah, learn how to do it. Self-service is the way to go with a lot of these things. It's definitely helps solve a lot of those problems. But I think you make a great point about the data literacy. I mean, people need to understand why it is that they're getting the results that they are, and in some respects to never be satisfied with the data that you're seeing. To say like, hey, what else can we do to improve on this? What else can we go and add to this? Mm-hmm. Beginning of my career doing, data warehousing, working for the phone company for Pacific Bell, that's all that we did. Was we were constantly going and having conversations of, trying to join together various data sources.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a massive GIS upgrade in like 94, 95. Okay. And just these massive projects of doing that. All we did was data cleanup, run the report, let these power tools, let the end users go in there, ask questions about it, test out the quality of that, back and clean it up more. And
you talking my language, Jack.
Never ending cycle there, though.
No, it's not. And but something else, going back to the summit and what's going on, because man, that's data cleansing stuff I can talk forever about. What I'll say is that you're getting into people, processes, tools, and Excel is just a tool. All is just tools. Sometimes the process is messed up, and being clear about what's going on here, because I don't want to have to build a tool when I might be able to change something somewhere in the process, right? Collect this or don't collect this, or collect this in this field or whatever. That can do a whole lot more than
well, so I talk about that people, process, technology all the time, because one point that I always make is that you can have people that know their stuff. They are on board. They understand the data, and you can have decent process, and you can have then ancient technology, and yet it can still work, because if they understand what's there and what needs to be done, and the process, they get it. But you can have the best technology and decent process, but the people are not on board, and you're going to fail.
Yep. Yep. I went into a small company, and they were running their business on index cards in drawers, like they did when they started the company in the mid 60s. They had a database that they all rejected because they were buddies, right? And then what is Linda gonna do now that this damn database is here? There's no need for Linda. No, out with the database. But their records were pristine. They didn't want to hear about Excel or nothing. And I just had to respect it, because they had their ancient tool and his people and their processes and everything worked. But also in the summit, instead of doing all Excel, I did 3 PowerPoint sessions.
Hmm.
Beautiful stuff, because I do a lot of video, right? I have my video channel, my YouTube channel, Excel on Fire, and I even have a Camtasia course. And part of that course involves bringing together Camtasia and PowerPoint. And those 3D animations in PowerPoint, whoa, they're powerful. And I've been using them in my videos. And so I'll give you something, is bringing in the 3D animated shark in PowerPoint, turn the slide green, record it, take it over to Camtasia, remove the green. Now you got a shark swimming in whatever you're trying to do.
Nice. I'll have to go try that out.
Yes.
Well, so Oz, if people want to find out more about you, stuff that you do, where can they find you? Blog, website, social, what's the best way to find you?
The best way is my YouTube channel, Excel on Fire. And my LinkedIn page. Let's look up Oz du Soleil. I'm there.
Excellent. And we'll provide links as well in the description. Oz, is great getting to know you. And yeah, I talk a lot about the Office Productivity Suite, and I do a productivity webinar with Tom Duff, formerly of Portland. He's now in Minneapolis, moved last year. But yeah, people love those productivity tips when we share those.
Yeah.
But really appreciate your time, and we'll see you soon.
Yep. Thank you.